which of these two will best face down the fire that is undoubtedly coming their way tonight. Real test of pedigree, old and new, over the next 80 minutes of action. Wigan with all that silverware in the bag for the last 40 years. Kingston Rovers on the cusp of something special, maybe, and tonight could be the night that they prove that they are the pedigree champs potentially. Kingston Rovers get first touch of the ball, and this is going to be an amazing night of rugby league, John Wilkin.
Yeah, just mouth-watering across the field, so many matchups to look out for. But I'm really focused on this middle part of the field. Hull KR got one over at Wigan, at Craven Park this year, by just physically dominating them through the middle of the field. Now, you wouldn't expect that. Wigan are stacked in that area. And they've got to be physically fantastic against a mobile, exceptional Hull KR pack here.
Well, the smoke is still hanging in the air from those pyrotechnics. Before they even set foot on the field, there's going to be a few pyrotechnics to come as well, as it's taken in by the returning James Batchelor. In at dummy half is Parcell. Back it goes to Mikey Lewis. Not a hand laid on him as he kicks it downfield. And Miskey will collect and brings it back for Wigan with a slip.
But great details from Wigan. Cruz Lehman just highlighting Mikey Lewis is going to kick that ball. Exceptional kick pressure. Forces Lewis just to pop that up. And Wigan get the first piece of field position advantage there.
Well, it's a big number. Oh, there's an offload that's going to be picked up here by Liam Marshall. And Marshall with a little fancy footwork and taking himself closer and his team closer to that halfway line. Huge following from the east of Hull tonight. I have to say, it's the loudest this ground has been in the away end since Salford played here. Remember that in the playoffs, what, 5 years ago now? As Farrell carries it forward for Wigan. Huge following on a Friday night. This is Ellis, who again gets that offload away. This is interesting to watch in the early stages, these offloads. It comes wide to Wardle. Wardle with a step back on the inside, but Hicker's followed him step by step and pulls him down. One play to go. Hoisted back to the middle. Leeming now. Little step away from Smith. Puts the chip up. Burgess doesn't even have to leave the ground to collect that. And a decent carry as well to set his side going forward.
There's a big tackle from Petr Hicker. We know what threat Jake Wardle is carrying the ball. His footwork's elusive. Matty Pete knows the value Jake Wardle brings in terms of punch and line breaks for his team, but Petr Hicker dealt with that well.
Well, Wigan's DNA is very much wired for this time of the year, isn't it? Kingston Rovers less so, as we've been saying, with their history. On a night like tonight, do you forge a self-belief potentially to take into a grand final?
I think they did that against Warrington away not long back. I think they found that coming to the northwest against a big team and getting a win. Well, the Robins have done that now. They're a different beast now, Dave.
There's May stepping back on the inside and just looking through Whitehead to push again. Betfred 5 short of the halfway line. It's Parcell who stands and waits. One to go, back to Mikey Lewis. Outside the 40, not that that matters because Miskey will catch it safely enough and returning it back again. It is as we expected in these early stages, bruising, both sides just testing each other out.
Yeah, you want a complete high in a big game like this, no mistakes, but then off the back of that you want to have great physicality in your defence, get numbers in the ruck and also have your discipline be squeaky clean, Dave. Crucially important in a big atmosphere like this.
Well, just to remind you, if you're late to join us, Niall Evalds a late withdrawal because of a calf injury for Kingston Rovers tonight. So Jack Broadbent playing at full-back. And you'd suspect he will be missed because he certainly adds plenty, especially with ball in hand. One to go, leaning back to the middle. Smith puts it up despite the chase of the opposite number 7, Mikey Lewis. And the first test of the night for Broadbent, and it goes high. And Kingston Rovers will start from there.
Yeah, and Broadbent showing his value for Hull KR. He's played on the wing, he's played in the centres and playing at full-back. It's so important in your squads to have the depth of cover that somebody like Jack Broadbent brings. He gives Willie Peters, on a night like tonight, comfort.
Comfort on a night like tonight?
It gives him comfort. He knows he can do a job and he's tidy. He's played in a number of positions. Willie Peters will have faith in him to do a great job here tonight.
Hadley with a carry. There he is, looking down, watching on. Danny Ward alongside him as well. It's a searching move right. Batchelor trying to push through. One play to go. Lewis again. Well, he was inside the 40 this time, so there's a sense of urgency to Fields tracking across, gets there safely.
Yeah, Jay Field needed all of his speed there. It was a great kick from Mikey Lewis, but Field positionally great, and then also using his speed just to get under that. Saved his side, a certain 40-20 from Mikey Lewis.
There's Marshall again, Smith in at dummy half. It's the other winger, Miski, now, who comes in and has a look. Whitbread's underneath. A couple of more defenders there as well to make that tackle a good one. And Havard, oh, misconnection and a mistake from Wigan. Well, it gives Hulkingston Rovers the first advantage of the night, a set that should start inside their opponent's half.
It's just a miscommunication from Lehman and Havard. Havard's leaving that for Bevan French all day. Lehman gives him a glare because it's aimed for him. In a tight physical contest, you expect your front rows to expect that directly off the ruck. It's an error from Havard, and it gifts Hull KR field position. What's impressed me about Hull KR is their ability to absorb pressure this year and not buckle and not break, and their ability to defend and stay connected and stick with process. Well, they've done that here in the opening exchanges where Wigan maybe had the best of it. Now they get a chance with the ball, Dave.
Yep, only 32 points conceded in the last 5 games, Hulkingston Rovers. That is impressive defensive form at this state of the year. But they've been very good at the other end as well, haven't they, in terms of converting opportunities into points. So these two sides do have a particular record. When they score first, they win every game they've played in this year. That's not going to be the case at the end of the night.
That's safe.
One of those records goes tonight. We can confirm that, even if it's a draw. This is Hadley. 35 out when he'll pick himself up, and Parcell delivers the ball back to Minchella, and now May, and across it comes, and Broadbent again just injecting himself into that line. But he's wrestled down by Nsemba. Mikey Lewis sticks it high in the air. Jay Fields underneath it, and again, it's fairly safe. But only 5 metres away from their own line here.
Yeah, it was patient, wasn't it, from Batchelor? Wow, Lee take the lead. They're making a real charge out there, Dave, for the playoffs. What a story that would be if Adrian Lamb can get in there. Same for Leeds, the Rhinos.
Well, Lee win tonight, they're up to 4th, when it looked like the playoffs were improbable only a few weeks ago. This is Miski. Leeds as well will be up into the top 6 as well if they win. Salford and Catalan, big match tomorrow as well. So it's all to play for this weekend, isn't it? Wigan now with Smith. Oh, it's charged down. It rather hit Parcell. I'm not sure he knew what was happening. The referee says he was advancing towards the ball. So it's another set of 6, and Wigan start from here. Let's go down to the touchline. Jenna, what are you telling us?
Yeah, Woodsy, I just want to make reference to the Hull KR supporters who have travelled in full force today. I'm told 23 coaches came to the stadium here in Wigan, 2,500 fans. If they bought a ticket to this game, they only had to pay £1 to get a seat on the bus. An amazing initiative from Hull KR.
Wonder what the journey home will be like.
Rowdy.
Smith pops it back on the inside, and a charging effort from Thompson, right down the guts of it, right down the middle. Last play again, so it's a little chip over the top by Harry Smith. Bounces out of play.
Yeah, it was well left in the end from Burgess. It just looked like it might have clipped him. It was an accurate kick from Smith, just in no man's land, really, not sure if he goes for it, and it has touched him.
Yeah.
It touched his foot. I was confident that I'd hit him. The way Burgess reacted told me that he thought he'd touched it. That's been missed by the officials. A stroke of fortune for Willie Peters and Hull KR.
Did he play at it though? That'll be the officials' argument there, that he wasn't actually playing at it. Yeah. Even if they'd seen it.
Hard to. Yeah.
The touch judge was close. But made the big call. Hulkingston Rovers can bring it clear. Hadley pushed back almost to where he came from. Parcell's in there, dummy half again. It's just a pounding effort from Sue.
It's a great carry. How good's he been, Suaso Sue, with an offload as well?
Tackle already completed. The referee saying he's shouted held. So he gets the benefit of the doubt and able to carry on. Whitbread. One play to go for Hull Kingston Rovers, still deep inside their own half-ish. So Lewis's boot is important again. Again, he's angling that towards the touchline, but this time it's Marshall who gets across there to provide the safe pair of hands and the scuttling recovery run.
It's great to see him in the England squad, Liam Marshall. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? You think of how prolific he's been as a try scorer, making it into that England team. Exceptional from him. What a year he's had.
He played against Fiji, didn't he, in a World Cup warm-up, but that wasn't an official test match a couple of years back, so he will be winning his first cap if he gets in that side. This is Farrell, just carrying it inside the Hull Kingston Rovers territory. Leeming. And it's across to Smith, and Nsemba bursting forward again, and Junior Nsemba unravels and manages to charge further. One play left. They want to get on with this quickly. Leeming. This is Harry Smith. Smith puts it back to Field. Oh, and Field and Bennett a misconnect with Marshall, but Marshall tries to make things up to keep that opportunity alive. But it's rescued in the end by Parcell.
Oh, just unbelievable. Talk about Liam Marshall being in the England squad. Well, Junior Nsemba's made it as well, and he's just showed us why the brutal simplicity of him and how effective he can be carrying the ball. Look, he bust through Tyrone May and Pete Hiku. Big athletes, and Nsemba, so powerful, exceptional carry from him.
Well, Willie Isa stayed fit. He might not have got as much of a chance, might he? But I tell you what, if Willie Isa comes back now, he's going to have a real big trouble getting back into that back row for Wigan. Hull Kingston Rovers advancing here, but are running out of tackles. Lewis again, just looking for accuracy of that kick. That is just about perfect, because it gives Field a job to do from out there, and the chase is good as well, led by Mikey Lewis himself. Yeah,
Mikey Lewis's kicking game in the opening 11 minutes, Dave, has been pinpoint accurate, right? Jay Field's caught a few of them on the full, Marshall's caught a few of them on the full, but everyone has been laser accurate where he's put it. What a great kick, and what an exceptional chase. The detail, the process, Hull have just followed religiously all year is evident there.
Here's Marshall. Here's Leeming. Stretch and a reach and a collect and a carry, and a test of that Hull Kingston Rovers resolved. But no give in either side's resolve so far. Just that one break from Nsemba. Last play, Smith again. Big kick over the top of Burgess. Now where does this hold? It doesn't, it skips on. So Hull Kingston Rovers, again, you know, small moments. They get a 7 tackle play here.
Yeah, just slightly overcooked, wasn't it, from Harry Smith? Okay, I'll get the tap 20 now and we'll just breathe. It's been such an intense start to this game. Been really impressed with the physicality from both teams. Wigan carrying the ball out of a cannon every time, and Hull are dealing with it.
Well, Lee have scored again, 12-0 at Castleford, and Josh Charnley has scored their latest try, and he's creeping up that Super League all-time leaders list. He's 16 this year, and he's only a couple now behind Danny Maguire, and not that far behind Ryan Hall.
Unbelievable.
Danny Maguire watching on at Cass, of course, as assistant coach.
These try-scoring days are over. Penalty here. Wigan have just conceded maybe the first ill-disciplined moment from Wigan. It's just a lazy high tackle.
Here's Whitbread. Whitbread straightening things up. 30 metres out. Parcell. Now Sue. Sue trying to twist it forward. Well, this is just about the best position Hull Kingston Rovers have had in terms of place to go and position on the field. Minchella just going for the direct route and hopping out of one tackle. Parcell gets it away. Mikey Lewis. His knees are sought out by Bevan French, and he's dumped on the ground. Parcell goes left again. They're searching through the middle. Tyrone May taking the tackle. Minchella, and now Whitbread, and Whitbread bouncing off a couple. Being held on to by Leeming and Thompson. And they're 5 metres away, just more than that, and one play left to go. Lewis flicking it high, and the leap was by Burgess, but Marshall clears it away. But I think the referee has said it was a knock-on from Burgess, and therefore it's Wigan who get the ball back here.
Yeah, it was a great leap from Burgess, just touched it, knocked it on. Marshall pats it dead. Nevertheless, it's Wigan's ball. Here, an exceptional start to this game, Dave. All of the detail. This is big game momentum, big game feeling to it. There's a simple brutality to how both sides are playing, and it's great to see.
Talking about simple brutality, here comes Luke Thompson. Bevan French smartly up there. So it looked a little high on Farrell. He rides the tackle. Crowd here obeying for a penalty. The referee keeps a cool head and says, play on. Bevan French. Ellis. Smith. Goes left. Suddenly there's an opportunity for pace to show itself here. And Field with a kick back to the middle. But Wardle can't get there because Broadbent is there. And Hawkins the Rovers survived that scale.
Yeah, but this right edge of Hawkeye is being tested, isn't it? And Harry Smith toying with the end of the line, drawing the wingers up when the back of the run in. And it's exceptional. What about the positional play from Broadbent? Called in last minute. Exceptional from him.
Parcell. Ryan Hall surging and grabbed around the head by Harry Smith as he went in. He's earned a penalty for his side there, Ryan Hall.
I feel for Harry Smith here because Ryan Hall's got such body lean going into the tackles. He goes from being 6'2" to being 5'8". When he leans into contact, he draws a foul, draws a high tackle from Harry Smith. 2 on the trot for Wigan. And this is just gifting Hull KR time. And watch Elliot Minchella now. He controls the rhythm and the rigour of this Hull KR attack.
When Ryan Hall's running like that, which part do you tackle?
You hope. 100% from Hull KR. Look, that's just big game stuff. You start clean, start tidy with the ball, and that's what they've done.
But again, they're pounding their way back to where they want to be. Close to presenting a real attacking threat here, Hull Kingston Rovers. Minchella just asking a few questions, but Junior and Sember's not waiting for those questions to be answered. He just dives in and makes the tackle, and Hiku picks up and dances on. He's trying to get the arms free, looking for the offload, but he's been gripped tightly by Ellis to make sure that doesn't occur. It's May, and now Lewis, and here comes Hadley on the angle, firing in, and down he goes. Again, there's just the one play to go. Parcell skips it left. Lewis chips for the corner. Miskey's underneath it. And what's he in the in-goal area? Oh, there is an obstructing run on the way there. One of the Hull Kingston Rovers players was pushed out of the way, so they get the penalty here.
Yeah, it's a tidy kick. Again, it's Kieran. Kieran just turns out, runs Ryan Hall off. He knows the threat of Ryan Hall. Defensive teams do it. You've got to be subtle. There was nothing subtle about that from Adam Kieran. Miskey had done a great job, hadn't he, to get his feet back in that in goal and almost defuse it, but Hull KR game on.
Well, here's a test for both attack and defence here. Can Hull Kingston Rovers turn possession and territory into early points? Or do Wigan see this one out? Whitbread again, slams it in, and you saw Havard's head snapping back at the impact there. Parcell turns full circle. The pass is not a good one. Broadbent. Did he knock it backwards? The referee's having a look at his touch judge and he's happy to wave it on. And Burgess coming back. They lost a bit of their balance. But they can right things again here. Parcell. And now Sue slamming in. Heavy carry from that big prop forward. Parcell picks up and sees the opportunity. And I think he's got it down. Oh, he snatched one from nowhere. And Hull Kingston Rovers get things up and running. And it's Parcell with a little sleight of hand and a feign of the body who gives them that opening try.
Yeah, so sharp and patient from Hull KR. Willie Peters will be urging his team just to stay in the grind. Matty Pete will be wanting more from his side when they're defending the line. But it's tidy and patient from Hull KR, turning players back on the inside, really testing the middle of Wigan's defensive line. I think it's Cade Ellis and the Wigan defenders so threatened by Elliot Minchella, so threatened by the shape that Mikey Lewis and Minchella offer, they take the eye off the ball. Cade Ellis gets beaten on his inside shoulder. It's too easy, Dave. That's too easy. Matty Pete will be fuming at the simplicity of that try. You get broken down through structure, you can almost accept it. Whereas what his side have done of overworked, they've gone to deal with the problem that's not there. Matt Parcell has taken advantage there.
Well, he's very much a part of the balance of this team, isn't he, Matt Parcell? Starting hooker, and Litton comes on in his stead at some stage of the game, and it's all those little balancing factors that Holkington Rovers have put together this season, isn't it? Hickey at fullback, Evalds on the wing at the start of the year, wasn't working. Switch them around a little, and suddenly they're purring.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the genius of Willie Peters as a coach. You know, he doesn't get fixed on a certain position. He's willing to change his mind on people and players. Matt Parcell might be one of those. Jez Litton was firmly his favourite. And Parcell's come in and done an exceptional job. He's a genuine running threat. You know, Wigan would have prepped him doing that near the line, but incredibly hard to stop. Fantastic start here for the Robins.
Well, Mikey Lewis, as a starter kick, couldn't have asked for better, right in front of the sticks. And Holkington Rovers lead by 6 points to 0. And remember that stat, Hull KR and Wigan, whichever of these scores first wins every game. Well, it's Holkington Rovers who've scored first tonight.
Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. Might Pete might have something to say about that. You know, obviously he's conceded first here. OKR historically have gone on and won from this position, but this is a different game. It's got a different feeling to it every week. Round of Super League.
So Holkington Rovers back in possession and building from the back. There's plenty to come as well. By the way, Tompkins, the last chance, 11 o'clock tonight. Get to watch that if you can. It's a terrific documentary, but a word of warning, there is some strong language on there, some colourful language, so if you are sensitive to that or you've got kids around, please be warned about that. But it's a great piece of TV.
Is he bringing out the last chance next? We want to see the sequel.
Holkington Rovers travelling well towards the halfway line. Last play. Lewis again sticks it high. Miski again with the catch, and the Holkington Rovers chase is up there to stop him just short of the 20-metre mark, and in fact win that battle to push him back by 5 yards or so.
And that's the value of Dean Hadley and this entire back row. Batchelor, Hadley and Minchella, their details are always so good. The effort is always exceptional, and you can build a team around their performances, and Ulcar defensively have built their team around their back row and how it operates.
Field quickly up there at dummy half. Leeds extending their lead. Oh, it's been lost. It's been lost. And the referee says play on. So Holkington Rovers again are gifted position here.
First offence is a knock-on.
Referee saying no advantage. So they're back to a scrum.
Well, it's just been a scrappy 10 minutes, 2 penalties and an error here from Thompson. It's Minchella who's over the ball. It pops out. Thompson's looks at the referee for a decision, but it's a fair challenge, and it's a solid challenge from Elliot Minchella. And you can't gift Hull KR position 2 penalties and an error. Now that's just manna from heaven for Hull KR, for Tyrone May, for Elliot Minchella, for Mikey Lewis. It's just an opportunity for them to attack in the area of the field that was so effective.
There's Gildart, former Wigan player, of course. Club his dad played for as well. Not that that will matter to him tonight. Here's Hadley, just pummeling in again. Parcell. Rovers fans in terrific voice at the moment as they watch their side edging closer. So Parcell, it's a loaded right-hand side with Broadbent having got up there and pushed over closer. Actually, 5 away, trying to extricate himself from those defenders to play it on again. Minchella, and again Whitbread, just getting those legs, working quickly, taking in quick strides to hit that line as hard as he can. And with this last play, Tyrone May, and a little step back on the inside by Mikey Lewis, and Mikey Lewis, would you believe it? Well, if you've been watching him all season, you would believe it. He's been scoring like that. Just seems unstoppable close to the line. He's a pinball wizard in that kind of situation. And Hull KR extend it to 10-0.
Oh, it's Magic Mikey at his very best, Dave. When he's confident, when he runs the ball, things happen. This year more so than any other year. 2024 has been a standout year for Mikey Lewis. His ability to evade challenges, he stands Bevan French right up. He puts Bevan French, who's a solid defensive player, on his heels, shrugs him to one side. The balance, the footwork, the explosion, magic Mikey Lewis at his very best, Dave. He's just got better and better as this year's gone on. How many times have we seen him ride challenges near the line like that and come up with a try? Exceptional from him, and there's not a lot Wigan could do. You've got to make your tackle. Lehman had a chance, French had a chance, Field had a chance. Lewis was too good.
He's been and gone before you've got a second thought there, hasn't he, if you're a defender?
He's just got a balance to how he runs. Willie Peters knows the value of having a ball carrier in your team. All car fans are having a great time. Having a ball carrier in your team like Mikey Lewis, who can just create something. Wigan have got it in Bevan French. You don't need shape, structure, you don't need an overlap. You need people who can beat people. Sam Tompkins said it earlier this year. The value of having players who can still beat a man, who can beat a player opposite them. And that's what Mikey Lewis brings, and that's absolutely what we love to see.
Have a look at that success probability, by the way. 81%.
Yeah, it would be less than that off the last few weeks. If there is one chink, you know, in the armour for Mikey Lewis's game recently, it's been goal kicking, hasn't it?
Well, he was practising hard. Every time he put one over in the warm-up, the Hawkeye fans were cheering. There were quite a few they didn't cheer. But what about this one, when it matters? Oh, it's a wobble on the ball, and it's gone a long way wide, skimming the front of the post. He just seemed to hit that all wrong, didn't he?
Yeah, it wasn't a very confident strike, and when it's all about confidence in front of goal. Jenna Brooks asked Willie Peters about how important his confidence in front of goal might be. Well, it could be massive. But Hull fans, they're pumped. They are pumped for this, travelled in the numbers, and have supported their team exceptionally all year.
17th try of the season, by the way, Mikey Lewis in the Super League. And that is a fantastic return for a man who's also, what is it, 21, 22 try assists this year?
Yeah, and the beauty of Hull is they've got, I think, 5 or 6 players in double figures for tries. So you look across the line, and they can score points across the field. And you've got Petake, who's a strike weapon on the right, Joe Burgess, then you've got Lewis, who's taking people on. It's the breadth of their attack, the number of attacking threats that they've got that makes them so difficult to prep against.
Well, this has been impressive so far for Hawkingster Rovers, and one hand on the league leader's shield, whoever wins tonight, especially Hull KR, because of that points difference. Warrington will probably have to win definitely have to win all 3. And Wigan will still be breathing heavily down the Hawkingster Rovers' necks. As it stands, things could change dramatically in this game.
Yeah, it's another exceptional kick from Mikey Lewis. The depth of his kicks, although they're being caught on the full, Abasmiski caught that one on the full, it just allows this OKR chase and defensive line to get organised, and they've been disciplined, not conceded a penalty or made an error yet. That's great rugby league at this time of year.
They have dominated this, haven't they, the Robins? Wigan on home turf need to re-establish a little bit of grit and grind here. Bevan French is going for a 40-20, but Broadbent is quick to that, very quick to that. And not only that, look how he skips away and starts his side on the 40-metre mark.
Yeah, lead's blowing out now at Hull FC. The march for the playoffs for the Rhinos is well and truly on. 2 tough games to finish, isn't it? But they're going well over there. But yeah, Hull KR are dominating this, and it's built off the back of completion, so not making errors, physically being good, discipline being good, and Mikey Lewis's kicking game has been pinpoint accurate.
Well, they're just about inside the Wigan half again here, and they're running out of tackles at the moment. Tanganua fresh on the field from the interchange bench, as is Sam Luckley, and an offload that Batchelor just about kept a hold of. Referee says play on, Minchella carries on, and then it's offloaded again. Broadbent with the first skip. Lewis now again gets away from defenders, offers an opportunity. Gildart there. Wigan's defence recovers well, but it's another offload. They're just keeping this alive superbly. Tanganua eventually dragged down, but they've covered some yard there in just that one play. Here's the last, chip over the top, reached by Hicko, he can't get it, Wardle, dummies to Marshall, comes back on the inside, he's got Smith with him as well, Smith now, steps away from Hall, he's being chased down, and eventually he is dragged down, but in the blink of an eye,
Professional foul, Joe Burgess.
Well, who's the yellow card to?
Burgess.
Joe Burgess has been given the yellow card.
What about the chase from Burgess, though? The desperation. If there's a visible improvement that Willie Peters has had upon any player, it's Joe Burgess. It's an exceptional defensive effort from him. Look, as the kick goes straight into Wardle, it's a made-up kick from May. Wardle's in space, he knows Field's got gas. And as he got gas to burn, it's some chase back from Gildart. And then Burgess just trying to buy a second and a half, get 3 or 4 more defenders back in the line. Well, that's cost him 10 minutes in the bin. But the defensive effort from Gildart and Burgess, exceptional, Dave.
Yeah, it's the flop as well, wasn't it? The tackle was complete, the flop, and then he just laid on, so it compounded. I tell you what, he's not been given an ex-hero's welcome as he comes off the field from the Wigan fans, booing him every step of the way. But suddenly the balance of the game might have shifted on that one moment. Here's Thompson. And it's Wigan's turn to apply the pressure at the other end now. Right in front of those Rovers fans. Forber out a dummy half. Back it comes to this. Here's Nsemba. Nsemba needs 2, maybe 3 to keep him at bay. Young Tom Forber's in there again. It's another set of 6. 6 more to go. They're going to try the muscular route in the first instance, but no way through for Dupree. He carries it, or he's carried over the line, so to be play the ball 10.
Smart from OKR, just pull him over the line, go back out to 10, just get some real estate behind your defensive line. Smart from the OKR defence.
Forber puts it back to Thompson. Thompson carrying in. Forber's in there again. Dupree's pouring the ground to the right-hand side. Behind him to Ellis, and now Smith. And Smith sees the advancing line, doesn't fancy the pass. Has to take the tackle. So that's 1 play gone. 3 more to go. Ellis skipping it out. Bevan French with a huge pass to Marshall. Has to take it down on his ankles and almost swerving, but losing his footing and losing the opportunity with it. Field, French, the dummy. A little bit of trickery from him. Thompson, no trickery there. Say what you see, just driving it in. Forber on the last. Forber flicks it out. Smith puts it back to French. French, they've got numbers here. They've got the numbers here. And Miskey dives for the corner. There is some figuring out to do here.
Tackle 5 then. We've got to try
on the field.
Check touch into grounding, please.
Touch and the grounding is what our video referee Ben Thaler will be studying here.
Touch line grounding, touching goal a lot, mate.
OK, so we're going nice and slow on this, please. We have a live call of try on field. You can see jumps. He's in the field of play at this point. Keep going back on that. Nice. Go back again. Go on from here. So he's in the field of play when he jumps. He's still got the ball in his hands, slow. Pause it there, right. I just want to check his trailing leg, but I can't see his right leg. So we need to go up on this. Nice and slow on this angle. Slow, slow, slow. Go back again. And nice and slow. Thank you. Go rock and roll it to the front on camera 1. So the leg is up. I know the leg is up. Pause it there. Thank you. I've now made my decision.
And I think this is going to be a popular decision for the majority of the crowd in here. Here we go. Listen to this. Tension is broken by a roar from the Wigan fans. Abbas Miski, an absolutely sensational finish. And from being on their heels, suddenly Wigan on their toes and back in the game.
Yeah, you think back to the kick from Tyrone May that just ended up with Wigan all the way down the field and a yellow card. It was French and Field combining in the way in which they do so well. French in the play before this looking like he's carrying his leg, but what a ball from Field on the end of it, and that is just an exquisite finish from Abbas Miski in the tightest of situations. Ryan Hall 2 touches the man on the inside, gets out, defends 2-man. Mikey Lewis covering. Abbas Miski, take a bow. What a finish from him.
Well, we remember last season when he was absolutely prolific at the back end of the year. Well, he hasn't. That's his first try in 10 games. Abbas Miski, but boy does he love playing against Hull Kingston Rovers. It is now 9 tries in 5 games against Hull Kingston Rovers.
Yeah, and the spine of Wigan just hasn't been together, you know, in recent times. They'll be really encouraged of just seeing French combined with Field icing a pass to Miski, all of that, where you expect them to come in and be clunky. Well, that's great. Question marks over Bevan French's fitness. Coming into this, bound to be scratchy. They'll be really hopeful he gets through this unscathed.
So Kieran from the touchline with a chance to bring the gap down to 4. Hull fans doing their level best to put him off. And the kick has gone wide. So it remains at 4 for Wigan and 10 for Hull Kingston Rovers.
Yeah, exceptional from Wigan. The yellow card of Burgess, how important could that be? It's the squareness and the tempo from both French and Field, just preserves enough space, and it's a game of inches. Another fraction of a second, and he doesn't make it. It was beautiful on the inside from both French and Field, and as you said, Miski loves dotting it down against the Robins.
So we go again. And the mood of the night changes, doesn't it? In those last 30 seconds.
The yellow card is huge. It's a huge moment.
Here's Nsemba. Hull Kingston Rovers down to 12 men now for the next 8 minutes or so. He can only stand on the sidelines and irritatedly watch on. Frustrated, no doubt. Here's Farrell. Bouncing in. Going not too much further than that. French inside for Ellis, and Ellis is looking for an offload. May was advancing, and having advanced, he might have left with a bit of a gap here. Wardle out to Marshall. Marshall now looking for the outside, and tries to step Broadbent, but Broadbent's got his hips and drags him down. Wigan again are on the last. Long searching ball for Harry Smith, then long searching for Bevan French. French cutting back towards his left-hand side, where there's a huge gap, and Nsemba takes the opportunity. They dragged him left, they dragged him right, and when they dragged them left again, it was Nsemba who galloped in to score.
Well, this left edge of Wigan is having some real joy opposite the right edge. That's now missing Joe Burgess for Hull KR. 7 tries for Junior Nsemba this year. That might be the easiest one he's scored all season, because the Hull KR defence was in tatters. It had been pulled, it had been stretched. Tyrone May just clocks off in the bottom of your shot. He just starts walking. He has a fraction of a second off and then comes into shot. And it's his lack of urgency at the start of the play costs him. Look, Burgess is out of the picture, he's on the bench, he's having 10 minutes out of the game. So they're going to come back to this side. French knows that, he skims back, look at his eyes, he's scanning. He knows May's sat back. And Nsemba walks in nearly untouched. Broadbent gets a hand on him. There's no chance. There is no chance that you're stopping Junior Nsemba from there. But look at French. He knows where he's going. He spots. He's looking. He's looking. Tyrone May's back. Game on.
Well, what a recovery. What a recovery Wigan have made here. And they could be level again here with a kick from the touchline for Kieran. Well, a revelation this season is almost an understatement, isn't it, Junior Nsemba? That's 3 tries in the last 3, by the way. So he's on terrific form as well.
Yeah, the left edge is so potent. Look at the combination of him and Jake Wardle. So powerful, great ball carriers, and they're having a great evening here. Harry Smith's finding a load of space for Nsemba and Wardle on this left-hand side.
It's amazing how quickly rugby league games can change, isn't it? Hull Kingston Rovers 10-0, absolutely dominant.
I go back to a manufactured kick from Tyrone May, and the game started to pivot after that.
Here's Kieran. This will be all square. If he can put it over. Oh, he's just going to shave the wrong side of the post. So it's Wigan's goal kicking that's letting them down at the moment. And they trail 8 points to 10.
Yeah, the Hull KR are stretched and they're scrambling, and it's so hard to be aggressive as a defensive line when you're a man down. French just wanders and just waits for somebody to bite on him. As I said, Tyrone May just came up and in. They were already short, Dave. It was almost inevitable they were going to score when Bevan French kicked back to that side so aggressively, doing what he does so well. How dangerous is that man?
Well, you don't put it down entirely to the sin binning, do you? But 2 tries while it's been 13 against 12.
It just takes the ability from your defensive line to dictate.
Oh, we're going to have lost it.
0-0.
We're going to have lost it. Referee says play on. Batchelor now. Maybe the game's swinging back the other way again. 4 minutes before the half-time hooter will sound. Parcell. There's a bunch to his right. There's spread to his left. Tanginoa. There was a spill. Not a steal, the referee said. Minchella, and now Luckley. Luckley stood up, pushed back. Parcell again. Little pick up and scoop and a dash. Darting again towards that line. But Nsemba is amongst the bruising shoulders that come his way and put him down. Hadley. And that's a penalty.
He's just punched me in the face. So Harry Smith's been penalised for just interfering in the ruck. He's just stood at the side. It's a little nudge, kicks the ball, Parcell. It's a penalty. You'd expect them to take 2 points here. Or to go for goal. They've got Burgess coming back on. He's only maybe got 90 seconds left. This is the end of the field where you want to be when you've got a man in the bin. Joe Burgess going to get on just before the half-time break. So smart from here. Mikey Lewis, take 2 points. You get the ball back. You just chew up all of this time where Joe Burgess isn't on the field.
Just under a minute and a half for him in that frustrated position. Mikey Lewis with a chance to add another 2. It's half-time, by the way, at Leeds, and look at that, they're racking up a big score tonight, 32-0 at half-time against Hull FC. That improves their points difference. Will take them up as it stands into 5th place. Still behind St Helens on points difference, but above Salford. But then you add Leeds to the mix, and they will actually be up in 4th place if that stays as it is. And Leeds in 5th. There's a kick, and it has gone over. So who would have thought that closing in on half-time, it's a kicking of Mikey Lewis that's the difference between these two sides.
Yeah, smart decision to take the 2. As I said, just chew up the clock, get Joe Burgess back on the field. Once you're back to your full complement, you can start being connected, defending through your systems and having your edges intact. It's so important in rugby league to have your edge 4 defenders intact. Burgess being off, look, it's not the reason Wigan scored a couple of tries, but it certainly contributes to a more passive defensive line. Wigan going short.
They're going short because there's not that long to play in this first half, but it's Hull Rovers who'll come up with possession. Who else? Mikey Lewis underneath it all. Getting underneath the skin of Wigan and underneath the bodies of Wigan. Hull Rovers again looking to build. Luckily, you might have heard the boos there in the background. That's because I think Burgess is back on the field. And that is a knock-on. And with 50 seconds remaining.
I've got an help. Sam Luckley, what he's saying is, how does the ball pop up that high if it's not been ripped out? And it has been ripped out. Like, it's almost impossible unless forwards are applying force under the ball for the ball to go straight up in the air. Sam Luckley's rightly aggrieved by that decision. It's a poor decision. Willie Peters just knows how important that could be, just on the stroke of half-time. 2 plays, 3 plays for Wigan at most.
32 seconds to go. And Bevan French went on a fantastically quick dummy run there, but he didn't catch the eye of all of those Hull KR defenders. They still tracked across to stop Wardle in his tracks. Here's Ellis. So this next play is almost certain to be the last play of a pulsating first half. It's back with Bevan French. French now to field on, and Kieran can't find the fingertips of Amos Miski, and that will do it for that first period. Terrific stuff, terrific entertainment. Hull Rovers up and running early. Wigan galloping back into contention. But at half-time, who'd have thought it? Mikey Lewis's boot, the difference between these two sides. It's Wigan 8, Hull Rovers 12. Two sides tonight It is far from decisive, that lead. 12 points to 8, Hulkington Rovers at half-time. But underway in the second half. John Wilkin alongside. How do you see this going now in the second half?
Well, for me, Wigan just need to control the ball. 5 errors and 4 penalties. So discipline with the ball, and then also discipline defensively not to concede penalties. And they're well and truly in this contest. Sam Tompkins nailed it. They just gifted Hull KR too much time and too much proximity to their own line, did Wigan, and that cost them. But that moment, the Burgess moment, the sin bin, it's just dragged Wigan right back into this, because Hull KR were the better team in that first half.
A couple of errors in that first half as well, wasn't it? Handling errors, and
yeah.
You know, you look back when Wigan just started to wobble with that defeat, that shock defeat against Hull FC. That was a game littered with errors. What is that down to at this stage of the season, do you feel?
I don't think they're overplaying. It's more errors in contact, you know, in the ruck. They've just got to take real care with possession. The ball's the most valuable thing at all times on the rugby field. You have to value it. You have to value possession, and that's some defensive effort in the opening moments of this half from Junior Nsemba and that left edge of Wigan.
Well, Joe Burgess is the pantomime villain tonight as he was carried to the touchline. Wigan fans, having booed him at first, were cheering at that. But he stayed in play. Lee pushing on 22-6 at Castleford. And Leeds, well, they've scored again early in the second half against Hulkington Rovers, 38-0. That could be a huge scoreline there tonight, couldn't it? LFC conceding 50 points plus on several occasions this year. Maybe another one tonight. Here is Tanginoa for Hulkington Rovers, looking to occupy opponent's territory, but denied that because this will be the last play. Mikey Lewis has rattled to the ground. Oh, it's a penalty given. Oh, it was Forber who got to him.
Yeah, I think it was Thompson. I think it's Luke Thompson. It's not an aggressive contact as Forber it is. You were right, Dave. Apologies. And it was an aggressive contact.
And then I think there's a Wigan word out of place, so the referee's given them another 10 metres here.
It's just bad timing from Forber. Bad timing. And we spoke about penalties and errors. Well, there's a penalty. Matty Peake, 2 minutes after, maybe telling his team that that's where they needed to improve. Well, they've conceded one, a needless one as well.
They're going for 2, which would give them, obviously, the 6-point lead, a try and a goal and all that. Are you surprised by that?
No, just take the sting out of this. The opening exchanges, you know, Hull KR have been the better team. They've been probably more disciplined. Just take points when they're there. We've seen it from Salford all year. Mark Sneed's a master at just taking points when they're available. And it's amazing when it comes to the mix at the end of the game how valuable they can be. I think both coaches know how tight this game can be and the value of 2 points just to stretch this to a 6-point lead. But this is far from a given. It's far from a given for Mikey Lewis.
Yeah. Chest puffed out, little nod of the head. Body language suggests confidence.
Yeah, we're projecting confidence.
Steps back, Hulkington Rovers fans behind those sticks to which he is kicking. And he's hit the target again. Who would doubt him? 3 out of 4, 14 points to 8. And Jenna down on the touchline, what can you tell us?
Yeah, I can tell you I've spoken to both coaches briefly in that break. Willie Peters said that he has no issue with the discipline. He's asked his players to just stick to the process, do not get bored of it and go on with this second half. Matty Peake said ruck control is the most important aspect in this second half. Defensively, they must win the ruck.
Harry Smith sends it high, Ryan Hall strides into position, and inevitably Wigan defenders there to meet him.
Just on that, winning the ruck is difficult against Hull KR. Look, they've got a lot of big ball carriers. Tanganoa here, just another one of those. But Elliot Minchella just moves the middles around for Wigan. You very rarely get a 2 or 3 man contact because of how they play and how they move the ball around. Wigan really looks desperately out at sea against the Hull KR at Craven Park because of Minchella.
So goes out, and here comes Hadley. Rattling it in. Dean Hadley, Holborn. Something this club, Hulkington Rovers, have noted. They need to be producing more youngsters coming through to continue the success they've started this year. Well, that's for another day as Field will carry it forward to within 15 of the halfway line. Here's French. Miski offside. Too quick the chase. And a cheer from the Wigan fans, which suggests they felt they should have had a penalty for that a lot earlier.
Yeah, Sam Luckley just maybe half a step in front of the referee, and that's just what Wigan needed. They looked deadly, didn't they, Wigan, whenever they got some field position in that first half. They just didn't get enough of it, Dave. You know, this is where Smith, Field and French will just look to manipulate numbers, create an opportunity.
Yes. Smith on to Thompson. Thompson driving it in. So there's 4 plays to go from here. Wigan nicely positioned. Ellis, Hawkinson Rovers desperate in defence, and just point you to their defensive record of late. It is something that's very near spectacular in not giving tries away, but they're being tested here. Field trying to thread himself through.
Strong contact, wasn't it, from Mikey Lewis? It's an area he's really improved. Solid read, solid contact.
Forber spins it in to Farrell. Across the line, a bounce beyond French, picked up by Wardle, whose footwork immediately takes him away from that first oncoming defender, but then his options are minimal, and he just has to drive it in. Forber on the last play. Smith here will put the kick up. Marshall's on at the chase. Burgess up there. Still 5. Not play on, not knocked on, but Minchella drops on it. And okay, I'll have it back, but very close to their own line here.
Yeah, and this is where Nsemba, Dupree, Forber will tighten up, get off the line. They've got to control Burgess, they've got to control Ryan Hall. Big outside backs for Hull KR, do such a great job at getting the Hull KR team forward.
Well, next cab off the rank is Ryan Hall, who takes it in, but doesn't make too many yards this time. Wigan fans trying to lift their team here in this big defensive effort. Big moment of the game again, as Parcell is felled. 2 plays in the set to go. Themselves to a relatively comfortable position here. Mikey Lewis taunting and teasing, and then trying to dash, but Farrell's got a hold of him. And he's lost that, yeah. Trying to wriggle himself back to his feet. The ball squirts loose, and Hawkinson Rovers make a potentially costly mistake here.
Yeah, it's been a near flawless performance from Lewis in the opening 46 minutes. That's the first error. Comes off the back of a Luckley penalty. And now a Mikey Lewis error. And that gift, what we spoke about Wigan, giving to Hull KR in terms of time, attacking the Wigan line. Well, Hull KR have returned serve here and just giving Wigan time to create an opportunity, time to just prod and probe Hull KR's very connected defence around.
So 6 tackles to have a go as Harry Smith feeds it in and backs away and collects the pass here, and Bevan French, but that's well read by the advancing Ollie Gildart. Thompson smashing it forward. Forber again, having a look round, puts it back, and now it's with Smith, and Nsemba comes on at pace once more, and boy is he hard to handle when he's running with that kind of intensity. And he's taken them close, and French, Gildart again doing a really good job.
It's a great read from Gildart. I had to nail him, and he did.
Another set of 6 there, too long in the tackle. Field stepping away this time from the clutches of Gildart. 5 to go from here. Inside for French. Ellis just settles things down with a drive that gives them the platform. Little glance around from Forber. Which way does he fancy? He's going to go left, where Smith's waiting, interception, and this is going to be Peter Hicko, who's running away from almost chasing him. He's going to be too quick for them all, heads for the corner, turns it back inside, and it's Burgess who finishes. Joe Burgess gets his moment in the sun, but they're having another look.
Tackle 2. We've got to try. Just check the grounding element, Ben, because we're directly behind him.
Looking at the grounding.
We're directly behind him. We've not seen the grounding.
He's not seen the grounding, that's all that is. So he wants it checking again. Let's hear from the video referee.
The live call on field is a try, so if we're just going on this nice and slow on this angle, this should see we don't need to check anything else. nice and slow. Keep it going. Pause it there, thank you. I've now made my decision.
Well, absolutely no doubt. And on a night when he's been booed and ironically cheered, it might be that Burgess gets the last laugh, because this is going to be a big try on the night, which gives his side an 18-8 lead.
Yeah, he might have been the villain on 28 minutes when he got his yellow card, but wow, has he repaid those. Robins faithful. An exceptional effort from Petr Hiku, wasn't it? What a great piece of defensive play, just putting himself in such an awkward position. Wigan looked like they were creating a number. Hiku read it. He read it. He picked Bevan French's pocket. And you thought he had the wheels. You thought he had the gas. He's tying up. Great chase back from Marshall. It's an unreal effort from Burgess to get there. But this is exceptional centre play from Petr Hiku, knowing the shot, knowing it's desperate, plucking the intercept, and then just having the patience and the confidence to toss it back inside. No doubt on that grounding, no doubt on that try, no doubt on this Robins team, Dave, and what they're capable of achieving. Matty Pete knows just how important that is.
Well, it was almost like Petr Hiku had eyes in the back of his head, because if he felt he wasn't going to get there, he kind of drew Marshall away from the chasing Burgess, didn't he, with the angle of the run there.
Yeah, it was really smart. Run away from the chase, move the chase around, and that's exactly what he did.
And Lewis with the boot, lands it again. He's having a sensational night in that department, and it's a 2-score lead that Hull Kingston Rovers have now given themselves.
Yeah, the value of that 2 points, the value of the penalty. We see Hiku again, he just reads it. He reads it perfectly. Harry Smith digs right into the line. Hiku just read it. And Burgess is talking to him. He says, I'm on your left, I'm on your right, I'm back on your left. He's back over the line. That's where he is, Joe Burgess.
And taken in by Hall. And Lewis back at dummy half. So Matt Parcell stands and waits. Well, how do Wigan respond to this? Lee, by the way, looking more comfortable. 28-6, and Leeds, well, they're going to win tonight, no doubt about that. It's simply a question of how many. Yeah. So they too pushing into that 6, and Hull Kingston Rovers here at the moment making quite a statement.
And just on the front foot, Matty Pete highlighted the ruck and highlighted how important it is to just commit numbers into the ruck. Probably too many one-out contacts, too many two-man tackles from Wigan, and the game is speeding up for Hull.
Lewis sticks it high. Field underneath it. An advancing party of 3, making sure he's got nowhere to go. Hiku leading that chase, and Wigan, with a lot of players still in front of the play the ball, they've got some hard work to do. Well, one hand on the league leaders' shield tonight, Hull KR. 2 matches to go. 2 points the advantage, and a massive points difference in their favour as well.
It's off the back of how good they've been defending as well, not just scoring points, but the big improvement under Willie Peters, the cultural improvement under Willie Peters has been about this stuff, the defence, and there's 2 of the architects of that, Minchella and Hadley, do all of the defensive work so well, so diligently, so detailed.
Here's Forber. Wigan desperately needing to score next, you would imagine. Smith's kick. Ball then picks up swiftly back towards the halfway line. There's Lewis. This is Hall. And offside for Wigan. So Hull Kingston Rovers with another penalty here. And Wigan are in danger of losing control at the moment.
Yeah, Farrell and French, I think both just stood in front of the referee, thought they'd retreated back to 10, they hadn't. It's just a momentary lapse, isn't it? And I think the first half was punctuated by those little lapses. How important's that intercept from Petr Hiku? You know, if that's flipped and Wigan get over in that corner, the game is looking completely different now. Well, he's pinched one and Burgess has pinched one, and crucial moment.
Parcell pops it up, May pops it back, Hadley. They've got plenty of tackles to go here. And look where they are. They fancy launching the killer blow as Sue takes it closer again. Now it's Parcell. Out to that right-hand side, and May. The big heavy guns keep battering it forward. On that occasion, it's Batchelor. Batchelor springs up again, comes back to May again, who changes direction in that tantalising fashion of his. But Junior and Semba's having none of that. Drags him down, quickly away, Parcell to Lewis. Lewis again. But there is too many numbers in his space. And it's going to be a handover.
Give it all, Harry.
Jenna Brooks, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Dave, I've just noticed that Matty Peat has made just 2 substitutions. Liam Byrne and Patrick Mago are yet to feature in this game, of course. Mago's such a huge impact player. You've got Byrne, one of the informed props. I mean, I find that quite interesting, do you?
What do you reckon, John?
Yeah, I mean, look, what he's got that power and punch. He's got an embarrassment of riches in the front row, as Matty Peat. So interestingly that he's not decided to rotate his front row often, but look, maybe he's looking to get minutes into people's legs. Maybe he's looking to just get people into that period where they're exhausted. It's hard to do that when you're constantly rotating players, and it might take a huge effort from one of his big men in the grand final to get it done.
And here is Mago, fresh from the sidelines, leaving a couple in his wake and still travelling.
That's impact.
Meters after contact, impressive. French drifting away from the diving Minchella, but there are 2 behind.
It's great effort from Minchella. Really surged from the inside of the line and just forces Bevan French to concede and take the tackle.
Ellis again was looking wide where Wigan might have had numbers, but May came out. But now they might have another chance. Oh, and Burgess gets hands on it, but it's a knock-on. And the tackle count starts again, and Semba's had it stolen, so it's a penalty for Wigan.
Great advantage, it's a penalty.
Yeah, they're
for
coming
the
up with
steal.
some big reads at that right edge. It's Burgess. Comes in. Oh, he has to take that in. He just gets... Wardle gets into the tackle, and that just forces an error from Burgess. But this is crucial. This is a big moment in this game now.
Mago. Oh, again, another impact. Again, making more meters than he was entitled to. Making things happen. Forber to Smith. Smith short. Now Dupree tries to work his way over, but he's going to be held up. Only a step away. Forber waiting. Collects and spins out. Field again. Searching back towards the middle, but before he gets in his stride, Minchella's across to drag him down. Wigan thwarted, but is it only temporarily? Ellis passes a poor one. Who wants it? Who's going to get it? Eventually picked up by Miskey, and now Bevan French will come skipping in, and he's put a kick and a chase in, and Bevan French making things happen in that magical fashion. Unbelievable! Absolutely unbelievable! How does he see that? How does he create that? And how does he score that?
There's an artist on the pitch, Dave. And he paints pictures in a different way. He paints his pictures that we just don't see week in, week out. And he creates things of beauty. And this is one of those. You think it's coming to nothing. When it comes back to the middle, there's nothing doing. Okay, are connected. Everyone's doing the job. Well, it doesn't matter. We saw it on Good Friday against St Helens. French creating magic out of nothing. And he's done that here. On the biggest of stages, in the biggest of moments. Bevan French is worth the ticket alone just to see him do things like that. We talk about how structured games can be. We talk about how teams often try and replicate each other and they almost plagiarise each other, how they play. Well, Bevan French breaks the mould. It's sensational, instinctive, touch rugby, back in Australia, back in the day. That's where that's learned. And it's beautiful to watch.
Well, that's what they've been missing, isn't it?
Without doubt.
Kieran settling himself for what would be his first success of the night. We're backing from here. And suddenly, on the back of something sensational, the game is back in the balance, and most coaches know that.
Yeah, and, you know, Willie Peters, you'll work all week on structure of your defence, of it being connected, of you being connected with the guys around you, about being aware of Betfred when he kicks back to the end of the line. They all do so well, but you can't defend that. You cannot defend that. That's the beautiful thing about it. Doesn't matter how good you are, that's a try. It doesn't matter how good you are sometimes. Bevan French can terrorise you, and that's him at his very, very best.
Totally instinctive. Lee carrying on in the style of their night so far, and Leeds likewise. So things are beginning to move decisively at the top end of the table, with, to remind you, only 2 weeks of the regular season after this weekend. There's an injury here. Dupree stayed down.
Time off, one and Dupree.
Doesn't look well. Suspicion is cast around the stadium whether the video ref will have another look at this.
He's not happy. Okay, as it stands, our points difference huge. As we said, how well they've defended this year. Willie Peters, the defence, what he's brought in, is the difference here with Hull KR. They've always been a team, even you go back to 2020 when they finished bottom under Tony Smith, they could score points, but they just didn't have any resilience to defend. Wow, it gets big, doesn't it? What about that one tomorrow?
Yeah, huge game as well.
Massive game.
You know, top spot might just be beyond Warrington's reach with the way things are at the moment, but second spot is very much available to them, isn't it? Because one of these two sides lose tonight, and they will only be 2 points behind either Wigan or Hull KR with a win tomorrow. And that documentary tonight, Tompkins, The Last Chance, and again that reminder that there is some fruity language in there. It's a brilliant documentary, but again, if you are sensitive, you don't like the strong language, and you've got kids around, you might not want to watch. You might just be careful about what you're watching, is what I'm saying.
You see Tyler Dupree just carry the ball into contact. Whitbread's just made a little bit of contact. It's that forward lean again, so it's difficult. Sue ricochets him into Whitbread. He's ended up hitting him high. It's a hard one, like I said, with those ball carries that lean into contact, Dave. It's incredibly difficult to find a slot.
And it's yet another example, isn't it, of a player stays down,
Come in, mate.
the video referee gets
with the
involved.
shoulders to the head. The only mitigation is the fact that there's a ricochet off the player, which has saved you. It's 10 minutes in the bin.
So Whitbread in the sin bin for 10 minutes. For the second time tonight, Hawkins the Rovers denied a player for 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, we need to have a look at the situation where you have to stay down for that to get pulled up, because it's not a good look. And Tyler Dupree, by all rights, should be going off for a head injury assessment. He's still on the field. He stayed down that long that surely the medical team have picked up that that's a substantial injury. And if he stayed down that long and he's faking it to win a penalty, they should take him off and assess him. That should be the punishment.
Yeah, absolutely agree, and I'm sure that will. Look at this for December. Galloping effort again. They scored 2 tries last time they had a one-man advantage, Wigan. They've just got a sense of something in their nostrils again here, of being able to unpick this Hawkins the Rovers side. Smith dancing and pushing. Mackie Lewis got a hold of him, so has Sue. So they've lost a yard or two, having gained a yard or two. Forber out. Here's Ellis. Tell you what, Forber's had some big minutes here, hasn't he?
Yeah, tidy from him. Just looking to collaborate here with Bevan French.
Oh, they've stepped. Hiku's stepped right out there to try and close Wigan's options down on that far side. It's a dangerous game, but Wigan are being pushed back towards the middle. And the offload is there again, and here is Forber, who's skidding down. Harry Smith. Lost it as Forber. Little screams of delight, and the coach is furious.
He's lost the ball, he's trying to play it. Where do you want it?
Yeah, he's just looking whether there's a hand on the ball.
In the middle.
Just touches Suasa Su's foot. Forber goes to play it. How Matty Pete screams. Element of fortune there for Hull KR. But you're right about Forber. He's doing it tough here, played some long minutes. And he could be important, couldn't he? How big was Brad O'Neill at the start of the year? Obviously missing for the rest of this season.
This is Hall. And not just that documentary tonight, but all those games coming up this weekend as well. And most of them absolutely massive again. That battle for the 6. Here's Burgess with the ball away. May. And Batchelor is put down. Jez Litton on the field. How many minutes played? 61 minutes played. So fresh pair of legs, fresh pair of eyes. Hadley. Needs up to 60 points. Lewis kicks away. Miski with a catch. Hopkins Rovers chase is honest. So Wigan starting only 12 from their own line again. A lot of work to do. Here's French. Smith to Marshall. Marshall always done well. Stepping away from a couple and still going, Liam Marshall. Well travelled, almost towards the halfway line. Smith, French, making those hearts beat a little quicker amongst the defenders as he challenges them, but Lewis jumps in and closes things down. Kieran, now Farrell. Solid clump forward again. But only one play to go. Forber. Smith. And out comes Field from full back. And making space. And Marshall cuts back in. And Leo Marshall bounces over to score. Wigan celebrate again. Then a goal kick away from parity. And they will not go away in this game.
Well, it's so smart from Harry Smith, it's so smart from Wigan, it's amazing from Kane Ellis to set up Liam Marshall's 23rd try of the year. And it's all about the manipulation of defensive lines and late plays. Last play, bring the winger up. If he stays back, we run it. He stayed back, they ran it. And Marshall with an exceptional finish. They just toyed with Hull KR. That right edge of Hull KR has just been put in some awkward situations, especially on play 4, especially on play 5. It's a magic finish on the end of that from Liam Marshall. What a finisher he's been for the Warriors over the years.
Oh, well, he's having a season, and it's the last 3 years, really, isn't he? He had a couple of ACLs early in his career, which stymied his progress, but you look back on his last 3 years, tonight's his 84th appearance in the last 3 seasons, 79 tries. Prolific. So that is consistency of form, isn't it?
Yeah, prolific. And look, that opportunity was by far from a given. It was beautiful from Ellis and Smith, and just, like I said, manipulating Hull KR's right edge defence in their favour. But it needed finishing. And in tight situations where you need that, those driving short footsteps of an outside back, there's nobody better than Marshall.
So Adam Kieran with a chance to bring things back level again. What a moment, what a game. This is rugby league, folks, and it can be very often wonderful. And tonight is one of those nights. Kieran settles. Big look at the sticks. His kicking form hasn't been great tonight.
Time back on.
But forward he rolls and he strikes it well, and everybody in Wigan colours behind the sticks are up in the air. Well before the flags were raised, it's 20 points apiece, and we've got 15 minutes of this roller coaster ride still to come.
Wow, it's a beauty from Kieran. Perfectly struck as we draw level here. Lisa Nandy, she's seen enough, she's gone. Labour MP.
Well, she can't stand the nerves. Well, a reminder from Ian Proctor, our super stats man, that these two both played in Golden Point extra time games twice last year. A cup semi-final that Hawkins the Rovers won, And a game at Craven Park, Silverwood Craven Park, that Wigan won on a night when Liam Farrell scored a hat-trick. Are we heading for another golden pointer here?
Yeah, wow, it's looking that way. There's nothing to choose between the two teams. Some bits of magic, you know, Jay Field for the Marshall try there, just showing all his experience and guile and deception. Bevan French, they've come up with some magic here in the second half so far.
A game that is still to be won. Kingston Rovers again finding a sin bidding costly in terms of points conceded. Forber puts it out to Nsemba, who gets it on the way again to Wardle. Nsemba stayed down injured. They're on the 6th here. So Harry Smith, left-footed, just boots it downfield as hard as he can. Ryan Hall's put his name all over this. Ball bounces back up onto his big chest, and forward he comes again and picks out his target, but they pick him, and down he goes.
Yeah, it's some sight that, isn't it? Ryan Hall coming back at you, especially maybe when the kick is not quite as deep as you want. This is where Hull KR are great. They've been fantastic at getting out of their own end all year.
Well, there you go, level at the top as it stands at the moment, all square. But for Kingston Rovers, far superior points difference. This is Hadley, pounding it forward again. But again, they're on the last. Little, spinning it out to Mikey Lewis. Lewis sticking it high in the air. Miski underneath it. Miski with a safe catch, and then Tanganoa shoulder goes crashing in.
What a hit from Tanganoa.
Oh, he felt that. He felt that.
It was a great kick, wasn't it, from Mikey Lewis? Miski was just feeling for the sideline with his right foot. He was hoping that sideline was there. He'd go back to where Mikey Lewis kicked it from. He didn't. He was faced with the unfortunate consequence of then having to run into Tanganoa.
He's rattled his ribcage and he's left him breathless. Every ounce of oxygen just disappeared from his lungs in that big hit.
Got a situation again where he's staying down, his neck's being braced by the physios.
Wouldn't you?
Well, I would, because the oxygen has just been blitzed out my lungs, but they'll have a look at it, won't they?
Surely there can't be anything wrong with this.
It wasn't a perceptible high shot. Now, if the video referee's having a look at it. Wow, we'd be unlucky, wasn't it? It looked a fair challenge, and yet again we see a player staying down and it bearing fruit.
While he's being treated, there'll be a consultation period again between the referee Jack Smith and video referee Ben Thaler.
Yep.
Yes. Tanganoa commits everything into this. Fair tackle. Fair tackle. Play on. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's fair tackle. His head rocks back. Hits him through the chest. It's unbelievable technique from Tanganoa. Now, I think the Wigan fans are upset, but that's just whiplash from great contact.
That's rugby league.
Oh.
That's how you play the game. That's what we love.
It's a magic shot. It's great timing. He drops his height, drills him through his chest. Miski's head is whiplashed back. Thankfully, he's okay.
Cruz leaving back on the field. Looking to sneak out a dummy half, but they're watching, they're waiting. Here's Havard, bit of footwork to get away from that Minchella attempt. Leeming will may go with a good ball to Nsemba, who returns the favour, and then it's off and on to Wardle, and he's got Marshall on his outside. Wardle will take it as far as he can, knowing that his winger's there, and Marshall will finish second of the night. Viperous, the way they swim there. From the moment that move started, it looked like it was going to end in just one fashion, with Marshall into the corner. One left winger lobs the other left winger for the try he's just scored. And Wigan are in the lead for the first time tonight.
We'll take a bow, Patrick Mago. He's made such a difference here. He's had so much punch. What a short ball. And then the subtlety of skill from Mago. He's made a difference for Wigan. He's really sped up the game when Wardle's in space there. He's a beautiful sight, is Jake Wardle, when he's clear. But it's all about Mago. Short ball and Sember punches. And then soft hands from the big man. And Wardle knows he's got to outrun that chase. He does. He gets away from May. He squares up Broadbent. Marshall with his second of the night. And you're right, it's deadly from the Warriors, Dave. It's absolutely deadly. What a contribution.
What a start he's had, hasn't he, Mago, since coming
unreal.
on.
3 or 4 block-busting carries, massive carries. The game's sped up around him. But he comes off the field now. It might be one of the best 15-20 minute stints he's played in a Warriors shirt.
He's getting an absolute hero's reception. Patrick Mago as he comes off the field. For the moment, job done. And in a little quieter fashion, Jai Whitbread has just come back on the field. So for the second time tonight, Holkingston Rovers have conceded twice when they've had a man in the sin bin. And that is going to be a major talking point at the end of the game.
Without doubt, the Burgess incident on 28 minutes, Whitbread on 59 minutes. Huge moments, just incredibly big moments within the context of this game. And Wigan, credit to them, they've taken advantage. When they've had the number, when they've had an opportunity, they've taken advantage. And it's that right-hand side for the Robins again that's really in trouble and been in trouble all night. And it's exceptional from Wigan and deadly from Wigan.
There will be a response with 11 minutes to go. That ain't the end of it, you wouldn't think. It's just advantage Wigan for the time being. Kieran from almost the touchline. Again, he's hit it well enough, and again, oh, he's hit the post. Hit the post. The arms went up behind the sticks, but they were celebrating early, but 24 points to 20. And now it's a question of how do Holkingston Rovers respond here, having gone behind for the first time.
Well, every time they've had 13 men on the field, they've been dominant, they've been in control. The 20 minutes where they've been down a man has cost them. Those moments of discipline from Burgess and from Whitbread have been costly for the Robins, haven't they?
Close your eyes, roll the dice and have another look at the table. Wigan back on top, but that will change, could change, might change with 10 minutes of this match still to play. Here's Farrell, very much the old man of this team, the voice and player of experience out there. Gets up and plays the ball. Ellis just carts it forward. Trying to get the arms free, but can't do so, so he'll try and nibble an extra few yards. Holkingston Rovers having to dig deep here. This is Havard. One play to go. Smith advanced on by Hadley, but puts that very high in the air. And Burgess catches, but hardly takes a step before the chasers have not only got him, but are dragging him back a yard or two.
Some chase from Abbas Miski. He just put his toe down, timed it perfectly, and Sember joins in. And now this is such a comfortable position for Wigan. Tighten up your line, be aggressive, control your rucks. That's what Matty Peel want.
Here's Hall. Trying to blast their way out of trouble here. Ollie Gildart, the latest to carry it, but only 2 plays left in this set, so something very magical needed if it's not going to be just a big kick and hope downfield, and that's the way it's looking at the moment. 1 play left. Lewis just gets it away. Leeming very nearly got to him, but it down the throat of Miski, who throws it back on the inside to Field, who has to get down on one knee to accept that engagement. And now he's inside Batchelor. And here's Smith. There's some tired-looking Wigan bodies trying to get behind the plate of ball at the moment. Conserving energy for what's left of 8 minutes of thunderous action. Farrell. Leeming. Thompson. Again, just a big carry from Luke Thompson. Lewis was a speed bump, no more than that. But Gildart was there to complete the defensive action. Smith to Field. Field now. Wardle pushing away Hiku, buying a bit of time and a bit of space. Back inside for Field, who dances and steps, but Hadley's having none of that nonsense. One play to go. Smith sticking up there. Look at Bevan French, he's after this. Bevan French tries to get up there, and it's picked up by Hubbard. Well, he's stopped. The referee says no, Hawkinson Rovers touch there. Wow. So it will be a handover.
Well, some chase from Bevan French, really put Broadbent under pressure. Havard with the silky skills, wow. What about that? Thought about having a nibble for the double movement, thought better of it, but this is a great position. As I said, with 7 minutes to go in the game, well, Wigan will just want to pin Hull KR deep in the territory like they have done here.
Well, we know they have the game breakers, Hull Kingston Rovers, to find a way to get away. But Wigan's defence is getting tighter and tighter. A couple of plays again, and again they're potentially ending the set inside their own half.
It's a good carry from Whitbread, though. It just generates some speed, and that allows Parcell to run.
So here comes a kick from Lewis. They're after him again, but he's got plenty of time this time. End over end, Field underneath it. Oh, he's knocked it backwards. A fumble that's lost him yards. But at least he keeps possession, but Hull Kingston Rovers will be lifted by that moment.
It's a costly fumble. Mikey Lewis went to spiral it, put his foot through the belly of the ball. He didn't catch it. It was still an awkward flight. And that's what Hull KR needed. They were in real danger of just being penned in their own end. Well, they're out of it now.
Here's Kieran with that latest carry. 3 gone for Wigan. Havard again, just sizing them up, having a look. Completion rate is very high from both sides, especially Hull KR. At this stage of the game, 92% in this intensity is pretty special. Leaning, Smith. And he's on again, and Nsemba to Wardle, and here comes Marshall! Marshall with a kick. The chase on, is it? No, it's out of play on the full. So it will be Hull KR who get it back.
Well, again, running it on the last play. Just praying on Joe Burgess being back, or toying with him. And it nearly bore through again, with Wardle and Marshall just in acres of space yet again. Hull KR need to work their way down the field. They need to get into that good ball area and just get Tyrone May and Mikey Lewis an opportunity here.
It's Gildart. There's another big moment to come in this game. You absolutely feel it. Wow. And that is one of those big moments, because Ryan Hall is bundled out of play and Wigan get it back very quickly.
Yeah, Ryan Hall just so strong. It's that effort from Bevan French. And then the second effort, along with Miski dragging him.
Well, there's a debate there. Was he dragged after the ball was grounded? Is a tackle complete there? And was there an extra effort?
He might be onto something. I think because it was almost one continuous slide from Ryan Hall, it's almost imperceptible that Miski's still dragging. I agree with you, Dave. By the letter of the law, I think he has dragged him once, he's held. But because of the continuation of that long slide on the greasy turf here at the Brick Stadium, not perceptible.
Well, that must all be forgotten for the time being, because it is Wigan who find themselves back in the A position here. Oh, Ellis lost it.
That's massive.
Leaning offside, so couldn't play on it. And Hull Kingston Rovers on the zero tackle, more or less starting from where Ryan Hall was bundled into touch all that time ago.
Just put all your effort in, push Ryan Hall over the sideline. 2 plays later, fumble possession. Crazy.
Parcell slips it inside for Minchella. May out to Hiku. He's got magic in his footsteps at times, hasn't he, Pete Hiku, but not on that occasion. Burgess. Minchella. Here's Batchelor, dragging his large frame forward again. It's Minchella. Drops it back to May, and Tanginoa comes crunching in again with his defenders desperately over there to make that tackle. They'll be drawing on the memory, no doubt, of that World Club Challenge against Penrith earlier this year. For a game like this, and an occasion like this, and an intensity like this, and that's a ball steal.
I'll tell you what, Batchelor's had a great game.
Just wait.
He's had some gamers, James Batchelor.
They tap and go. Hull Kingston Rovers, 2.5 minutes to play. Have they got it within them now to find an opening again? Well, they can't do it without the ball. Lost over there by Staunton.
And Staunton's been watching the game. How difficult to watch 75 minutes of a game, not get on the field. Tyrone May feeds him the ball right in the line. It's a strong contact. How difficult to sit on the bench and watch this game unfold and not be involved. How big's that moment? A mistake from Staunton.
1 minute and 48 seconds and counting. Hull Kingston Rovers will get the ball back in the normal balance of the game. Wigan will spend these next 5 tackles, followed by the 6th play, getting themselves as far downfield as possible. And Hull Kingston Rovers then will get their response. Here's Miski. Leaning in there. Now it's Farrell. Farrell repelled by those Hull Kingston Rovers defenders coming his way. This is Thompson. Thompson battering it forward again. Not making too much of an impact, hardly denting that Rovers defence. And French will kick and go chasing after it. And this is the game. 54 seconds to play. Hull Kingston Rovers, one last set to have a go.
This is it. It's all on this. Is it crazy? A full year of games. The League Leaders' Shield could come down to this next 40 seconds.
Lewis, back to the middle. Gildart takes it on. 30 seconds and counting. A ball that bounces into the hands of Hiku. Hiku cuts back on the inside. And Senda stops him in his tracks. 22 seconds to go. Back towards Minchella. Minchella's dancing around. They've still got a couple of plays. They might run out of time before they can get to the last. This is slow. This will be the last play. Out it comes. Countdown on the big screen. May sends it right, untidily so, and the kick is poor. Wigan have it back, and Wigan have hung on for an absolutely massive win. Maybe tonight they retain that League Leaders' Shield. Hull Kingston Rovers in the fight for most of the night. Will have another go, surely, for silverware, with a grand final in the reckoning. But tonight it's Wigan's night.